Salve to discipuli, this is Mickey Strabetti, and this lesson is all about adjectives. There are some very important adjective rules that you should know. Definitely take out your notebook and copy these down. First of all, adjectives modify nouns. The noun it modifies is called an antecedent. Adjectives come in two different declensions. The first declension is actually a combination of first and second declension noun endings. I'll oftentimes use this symbol. It is not a half symbol. It's just indicating that the endings of this adjective come from first declension and second declension. There's also a third declension adjectives, and that's just reusing the third declension noun endings. There is one little difference that we'll talk about later. So adjectives come in two different declensions, a 1-2 and a third. Adjectives need to match their antecedents in three things: case, number, and gender. They do not need to come from the same declension. So you can have a first declension noun modified by a third declension adjective and a whole host of other combinations. So it can get a little tricky. Here are your endings. You'll notice here, this is your combination of your 1-2 noun endings. Us comes from the second declension masculine. A comes from the first declension feminine. Comes from the second declension masculine. This is a little tricky because you would expect to have all the first declension on one side and second declension on the next side. However, adjectives are listed by masculine, feminine, neuter. There are a couple of cases where they're all the same for all three genders, in which case I only bother to list it once. Some people like to write it out 3 times, but for my purposes, I'll only write it out once. Now remember, I told you that there was going to be one difference in the third declension from the noun endings to the adjective endings. The third declension, ablative singular, is an E in the nouns, but here it's an accented I. Otherwise, it's exactly the same as your noun endings. All right, how the dictionary entries work for adjectives. They will be listed in, for specifically the 1-2 adjectives, they'll be listed in all 3 genders, masculine, feminine, and neuter. For example, notus, nota, notum, pulcher, pulchra, pulchrum, meus, mea, meum, optimus, optima, optimum. The dictionary entries for the third declension adjectives are a little bit different. There's usually 2 entries. The first one is the masculine and the feminine combined, and then the next one is the neuter. Both of those are in the nominative singular. Sometimes it'll be followed by a genitive in order to explain a stem change, which does happen often in the third declension. So fortis is the nominative singular for the masculine and feminine. Forte is the nominative singular for the neuter. Same for ingens, ingains. It's exactly the same in the masculine, feminine, and the neuter. There's a stem change when you go from to the genitive on. And then same for these other ones right here. Just like as in English, Latin has some irregulars. So, we have our regulars here. Longus is just a regular descriptive, saying something's long. Longior is the comparative, saying that something is longer. Longissimus is the superlative, saying that it is the longest. The comparative is really easy to remember because it sounds like our more. So more beautiful, more strong, more lucky, more easy. The superlative is easy to remember because there will always be a double consonant followed by imus. So double consonant imus, double consonant imus, double consonant imus, double consonant imus. Double L, double S, or double R is what you will always see. The comparatives use your third declension adjective endings. The superlatives use your 1-2 adjective endings. Now for the irregulars. Just as with English, Latin has some irregulars. So good, better, best. These don't look anything like each other, but English pulls the same tricks. So these you really want to memorize so that you are familiar with them. All right, go ahead and pause the video for a moment. Take some time to write down these sentences and try to draw arrows from the underlined adjective to the noun that it is modifying, remembering that your rules. Adjectives always match their antecedents in case, number, and gender, not necessarily declension. All right, our first sentence we're going to look at, Metella est in bona collina. Hopefully you drew your arrow from bona to collina. We're a little lucky here because though they are in the same declension, so they look exactly the same. Bona and collina are both feminine, singular, and ablative. Melissa pulcherissima viam ingentem spectat. Hopefully you drew your arrow from pulcherissima to Melissa. They're both nominative, singular, feminine. The second one was a little bit more difficult. Ingentem is modifying viam. They look different because they come from different declensions. However, they are both feminine, accusative, and singular. Onculi omnes bonum canam puellis parant. Omnes is modifying onculi because they are both nominative, plural, feminine. Bonum is modifying canam. They are both feminine, accusative, singular. Metella togis multis. Multis is modifying togis. Oncula et tu vila exit. Tu is modifying vila. Mercator irratior est in magno nave. Irratior is modifying mercator. Magno is modifying nave. They come from different declensions, but they are both ablative, singular, masculine. All right, here's another set of sentences. Again, pause the video, copy them down, draw arrows from the underlined adjectives to the nouns that they are modifying, to their antecedents. All right, our first sentence here, Pax patri laetissimo placet. Both patri and laetissimo are dative, singular, masculine, though they come from different declensions. That's why they look different. Senex notus ingentem clamorem. Notus is modifying senex. They're both nominative, masculine, singular. Ingentem is modifying clamorem. Fortis puella ad majorem tabernam ambulat. Puella is modifying fortis. They are both nominative, singular, feminine, even though they look different because they come from different declensions. Majorem is modifying tabernam. They're both feminine, accusative, singular. Ignavus puer est in cubiculo. Ignavus is modifying puer. They're both nominative, singular, masculine. Servus domino bono credit. Bono is modifying domino. They're both dative, singular, masculine. Servi venum solum dominis parant. Solum is modifying venum. They are both accusative, singular, neuter. So, some things to remember. Adjectives must always match their antecedents in case, number, and gender. They may look different if they come from different declensions, but they must match in case, number, gender, which makes it all more imperative for you to know your endings. Vale to discipuli.